What's up, my wizards? It's Dev from SBMTG on the YouTube.com down there. We like magic. Said it this time. And today, more Aether Revolt spoilers. Who would have thought? I know these are a little bit late, by the way. I was just kind of waiting for more spoilers, to be honest with you. We got like none all day today, at least. But I figured I'd go ahead and cover these because at least a couple of these have been getting lots of hype. So let me show you what I think about them. Because you totally care, right? But anyway, in ascending order of hype, let's start with Battle at the Bridge, which I do like saying, at least. This is X and a black for a sorcery. With Improvise, that's a new ability. Your artifacts can help cast this spell. Each artifact you tap after you're done activating mana abilities pays for 1 generic mana. And it has target creature gets -X until end of turn, and you gain X life. First of all, am I the only one that thinks that the reminder text looks kind of like weirdly worded on this? Like, your artifact can help you cast this. Like, usually Wizards doesn't word reminder text like that. But still, Improvise looks like a cool ability, sort of an affinity for artifacts thing. So it makes you excited to see what else they do with it, you know. So that might end up being ultimately pretty cool, but I think that sorcery speed is sort of a barrier for entry for this card. If it were instant speed, it could be all-star removal. But it could still show up. You know, we'll talk about a sorcery later on in the video that I think is almost certainly going to see some standard play. So sorcery speed isn't necessarily, you know, just going to kill it outright. I think that the card definitely has applications, you know, maybe a 1 or 2 of in control, but sorcery speed is a real problem, especially in this meta that's going to have not only Looter Scooter, but Heart of Kiran at this point. So I think that Grasp is where you want to be over this all day. You play all 4 copies of Grasp now. And I don't know if that leaves any room for this over other stuff that you might want to play. So I'm not totally sure about this. Again, maybe 1 or 2 of play. And Improvise could make this really good in like the blue-black artifacts deck that we're seeing some things develop for, but it still looks like a solidly tier 3 deck with what we've seen so far. So I don't know about this at all. I want to like it so much. I love that you gain the life off of it. I love that it kills indestructible creatures. It's great late. So good things about the card. I'm just not sure that it quite gets there for real competitive play. I had a lot more to say about that card than I thought I would have to say about that card, to be honest with you. Interesting thing. But anyway, move on to something that's actually like even more interesting. This is the quirkiest card that we saw today. This is Pia's Revolution right here. It's 3 mana, that's 2 generic and a red for an enchantment. And whenever a non-token artifact is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, return that card to your hand unless target opponent has Pia's Revolution. Deal 3 damage to him or her. Okay, so eggs. You know, like that's what most people are saying is like, hey, eggs. You know, I don't like the amount of choice that this gives your opponent. Like, if you're looking to go off on this card, then you're really giving your opponent an awful lot of choice, you know? And we talked about what Scrap Heap Trawler with Arcbound Ravager, and Ravager is something I've seen referenced with this too. But I just think it's like really too slow to do that with, and Trawler's probably the better option, honestly. And again, like if you're looking to combo off on this, like your opponent can just stop it. Your opponent can just use their life as a resource like they're supposed to and stop it. So I just don't know like where this is supposed to go. And again, eggs are a thing. Yeah, totally get that. I'm just not, it's really slow, man. And like, it just looks too like quirky, janky, but sometimes, especially, I mean, you got to look at Kaladesh and say that like sometimes things that look quirky or janky are like really, really good. So like everyone's second guessing their opinions on these on this card specifically, but on every card we see from this point on out. So I'm not feeling it. Like I just don't think it has good juju. You know, it's like the mojo's not there for me on this card. Although a lot of people are really, really excited about it, and it's definitely like Johnny bait. You know, like people that want to make combos are gonna like this. But again, it gives your opponent all the choice. And I don't want to give the opponent like any say in the matter. So I'm just not sure. Although, like, again, eggs. So there's always that. All right, but there's 2 cards left, and they are the ones getting all the attention. I really wanted to just zoom through those first 2. Although I talked a lot about the first one, and I just kept saying eggs over and over. That's that second card. But these are the 2 cards that are really getting a lot of attention. One from a story perspective, and from a gameplay perspective, and one from strictly this is competitive, holy crap. And I'm actually going to cover the one that I'm a little less hype about, but only because the other card I'm really freaking stoked for. So let's talk about Disallow, everybody. Disallow is 3 mana. That's a generic and 2 blue for an instant. Counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. Okay, so there's a layer of people on the internet that are super PO'd that this is a better version of Void Slime. You know, like, oh, it just invalidates Void Slime. But like most people weren't playing Void Slime in Modern right now anyway. You know, it's kind of been a while since we played Void Slime in Modern. If I'm to understand correctly, and sort of in a way in EDH this gives you 2 Void Slimes. That's kind of cool. But onto the actual practical applications of the card. In Standard, this is very good. Very, very good. And will probably replace Void Shatter, which will leave a hole open for certain decks. But I still think that this will replace Void Shatter right away. I don't think we'll have to wait on a rotation or anything. Because this is just super versatile and does lots of stuff. You know, the big things are that it can counter Planeswalker abilities, especially Ultimates. Think about that. It can counter Aetherworks Marvel going off, which is going to be really, really important. Especially since Marvel is really getting big right now. And it's starting to sort of have its place. And I think that this will just maybe destroy that. We'll have to see. This can counter Emrakul's cast ability, or really any Eldrazi's cast ability. If you can deal with Emrakul's body on your next turn or whatever, then you can just counter the cast ability and not get Mindslaver. That's kind of cool. That's going to be really important against Delirium decks. So this is sort of a catch-all for control decks, and maybe control will be really, really real. We saw it do very well at the Pro Tour when the format was underdeveloped and not solved yet, and control is sort of taking a back seat to the especially Delirium decks, Aetherworks Marvel now, and Blue-White Flash. So mid-range is sort of starting to pick back up at this point, and this could really be the weapon control needs to establish itself as a real deck in this format. I think that it's very, very good and counters stuff way beyond things that I've just talked about there. You know, Eldrazi Displacer, that's a thing. People are talking about ETB effects, and I don't know why you wouldn't just counter the spell. You know, it counters every spell in Standard. That's good. So, there's a lot more stuff I'm sure you guys have pointed out in the comments. But Planeswalker abilities, Aetherworks Marvel are the 2 really, really big things that everyone's talking about, especially Aetherworks Marvel. So, this thing is just great. Just great. Super, super versatile. Maybe lets you drop Summary Dismissal in those control decks, so that's big. Just really think the card is going to have a huge impact on Standard. As far as like what control can do and what it can deal with. That's really, really big. And people are saying it could see Modern play. You know, I'm not as sure about that, but it could totally see Modern play every day of the week. And people will probably dislike the video because I said I'm not sure about that. But that really remains to be seen. We'll have to wait and see. I think that it definitely has Modern potential. But in Standard, it is absolutely day one out of the box and a very, very important piece for control decks. But the big card of the day, as far as I'm concerned, just for like pure hype level, you know, just like how excited you could possibly be about a card. Here is Dark Intimations right here. This is 5 mana, that's 2 generic, in Grixis colors, blue, black, and red, for a sorcery. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or a planeswalker, then discards a card. You return a creature or planeswalker from your graveyard to your hand, then draw a card. When you cast a Bolas Planeswalker spell, exile Dark Intimations from your graveyard. That Planeswalker enters the battlefield with an additional loyalty counter on it. Lord Bolas is back. Lord Bolas, it's actually happening. But the big discussion is it this set? Or is we going to have to wait till Amonkhet? I would love to see Nicol in this set. That would just be... Nicol is one of my favorite, like... I play like Puzzle and Dragons, it's a mobile app, and my name on that game is Lord Bolas. Like, I love Nicol Bolas. Favorite Planeswalker ever, favorite Elder Dragon, maybe favorite Magic personality. Period. So just, oh my god. He's coming back, and it's going to be either this set or the next one, and I freaking can't wait. The actual function of the card outside of the second paragraph of text there is sort of a mini Cruel Ultimatum, and that's so cool, because I also love Cruel Ultimatum an awful lot. I have been waiting to talk about this card for like 24 hours, if you can't tell. I'm super excited, and I'm sort of losing my voice. I'm getting a little touch of laryngitis, so maybe my voice sounds weird in this video, and I'm just sort of... I don't sound like I usually do, but I want to scream about this card. So much I like about it. If you can get all of these things to happen, you've just netted yourself 3 cards. You know, you have to spin this card. So that's -1 cards on a card advantage scale there. And then they sacrifice a creature. You're at even cards now. They discard a card. You're at +1 cards. You get a card back. That's +2. And then you draw a card. That's +3 card advantage for 5 mana, which is actually really good because it also affects the board. That's cool. If they have a card in their hand against maybe the control mirror, which I think might be a thing with Disallow in the format now, BT dubs. Against the control mirror, that is very, very good when you resolve it. And it doesn't look like a turn 5 spell to me, by the way. It looks like a turn 8 spell, backed up by a Disallow or maybe a Void Shatter, whatever, you know. It definitely looks like that to me. Because you really want to make sure that you resolve this in the control mirror. And it's good against any other matchup. You know, you're against Green-Black Delirium or Blue-White Flash or any other mid-range deck in the format. You're still going to, on turn 5, be able to cast this, get a card out of their hand, and very likely, depending on the build of your deck, get something back, whether it's died or you've pitched it into your graveyard prior to this. So, Collective Brutality, maybe, that, you know, something. Be able to get some form of card advantage. Maybe a Liliana that has died at that point, get it back with this. Just all kinds of awesome things. You know, Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Oh, and by the way, creatures too. Torrential Gearhulk, if that's died and it's very late in the game, put it back in your hand, you know. So, and you draw a card, that's always good. Just so many good things about this mini ultimatum that is, you know, more castable than Cruel Ultimatum and still very, very impactful on, you know, the card advantage that you're getting and the board state itself. Just so many awesome things about this card. So, and I hope that it may be part of a mini cycle. That would be somewhat cool, but I doubt it. It's probably just this as a one-off. But anyway, Bolas is back. Bolas is sighted. That's, you know, that, whew, wanted to be in this set so bad. Wanted to be in this set so bad, but he might not be. Let me know how you feel about this, by the way, and all the cards. But you can tell which one I'm the most obviously I really want this card. And there's actually no guarantee that this card is amazing in Standard. There really isn't. There really isn't. Even though it looks crazy, we could be way off the mark here, and the card is sorcery speed, and that is buh. But, you know, maybe Brain in the Jar is good now. Maybe Brain in the Jar is good now. Who knows? So there's that. But anyway, I think that's all I have to say for now about this card and others. I'm just really... I could probably sit here and just talk about this card for 2 hours, but I'm not going to do that to you guys because, you know, you wouldn't be here at the end. But anyway, this is the end. If you enjoyed the content, what you need to do is like, you need to share it. I haven't asked you to share in forever. You should just share these spoilers because everyone deserves spoilers. You should also click on the little bell icon. I know you've probably heard other YouTubers talk about this, and I'm going to talk about it again in the future. But click on the little bell icon. You can see it. It's right there next to the subscribe button because that way you'll be guaranteed to get notifications whenever I put up videos. Apparently that's what YouTube wants you to do now because they've changed their whole algorithm and it relies more on community stuff like likes, shares, and you know, notification, clicking the bell. So do all the things. Those matter more than ever now for all your favorite YouTubers. So do that for all of us. And what are we doing next time? I want to touch on that real quick. Next video I want to put out is going to be the Frontier guide, basically. I'm going to do the top 8 decks in Frontier, highlight a couple other decks I think are really cool, tell you what Frontier is, all that stuff, just everything you need to know about Frontier. That's coming up next, and that will be just in the next few days, hopefully. So it depends on how many of these spoilers come out. But anyway, I'm tapped out. Do all the YouTube stuff, like I said, and hopefully you'll do that because I like you guys. And I will see you guys next time. I'm Dev from SBMTG. Thanks for watching, my wizards.